I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it after? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel, O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
We're back. It's a quick question. It's Soren and Daniel. It's a podcast with comedy writers and two best friends talking, giving each other answers and asking each other questions. Soren, we got to get right into it. I'm Daniel O'Brien, but here's the thing. Everybody knows who we are. Everybody who's listening to this
Everybody in the world
Everybody
knows
in the
who
world.
we are.
And there's just something that we got to talk about. I know that we talked a little bit about it in the last episode. That the show that I work for, we got an Emmy. And I got on stage and I gave a speech.
And you've got a lot of FaceTime since then.
Got a lot of FaceTime since then, Soren. There was a lot of heat.
Yeah.
There was a lot of... And I'd been so nervous because I'd never given a speech before. And I'd kept my head down at this job for 7 years, just being a head down writer. They asked me in my interview 7 years ago when I was coming from crack.com, when I was coming from creative director, a boss. And they're like, will you be okay with being just a writer? I was like, that's all I've ever wanted to be, was just a writer. Just let me put my head down and be a writer for you guys. And I've been doing that faithfully, a faithful servant. And then I give this stupid speech to make my wife happy.
You did it for her.
You gave your Emmy only.
You gave your Emmy award-winning speech for your wife.
I thought Shay would like this.
Did you thank your wife in it?
No.
Interesting.
There's no time. There's actually a backstage. There's like it's like E or some network is like, hey, here's a place for you to thank anyone that you forgot to thank when you were on stage. And I also didn't do it then.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Luckily, no one knows where that footage is. But I give this speech. And in this speech, Soren, I mentioned that I am thrilled to be sharing this category with late night political comedy writers while that is still a type of show that's allowed to exist.
Good joke.
72 hours later,
Well, hold on.
was ripped from the air.
A thing happened in the actual, you wouldn't have been able to tell this because you were live, but you know since, is that you said that, you got a little reaction shot from the audience, and who did they go to, lo and behold, in the audience to give that reaction? Jimmy Kimmel.
They cut to Jimmy Kimmel, right to him.
Right to him?
I didn't know it, of course, because I was live, and that little juxtaposition was picked up, Soren. It was picked up.
Yeah.
There's my dumb face on MSNBC with Morning Joe. All these write-ups when Kimmel gets pulled off the air.
Yeah.
There's all these write-ups in Vanity Fair and Variety, all these things. Last week tonight, senior writer Daniel O'Brien. That is the first line in these articles. And I'm just thinking, this is so much fucking heat. It's
Did
so
they
much
call you
attention.
Dan? Or did they
No,
call
they
you
call me
Daniel?
Daniel.
Okay, good. Oh,
It's,
look at this. It's what a boon for you. You're looking at the wrong part of this.
Great to hear from fans.
Everyone is recognizing you as Daniel now. I heard John Oliver say it on the next show. He called you Daniel.
That was another part of the heat, is that this clip of me giving the speech, cutting to Jimmy Kimmel, that is on our show last week tonight. I'm a named person. We see a video of me on the show. I did not want this. I've been so worried for a week straight about how much attention I was pulling into me and away from the show. And I didn't push to have me featured on the show. I was upset that like all my name's going to be in these articles, and everyone was talking about what a prophecy this was that I had made. And I was so freaked out about how this was going to change my life and all of the attention that was going to come rolling in, positive and negative. And we're about a week and a half away from it. And Soren, there's just been fucking not a single knock on my door. Just no one. I can't get arrested in this town. There's no one is. I was so paranoid that like my star would shine so bright and rise so high. And the last thing in the world that I wanted was to distract attention away from the show. And I didn't need to worry about that.
No, you didn't. There was a period where we talked about this before we taped our last podcast. And you were like, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to keep my head down. And it was, I mean, your concerns were justified. I don't know that it was always as altruistic as I don't want to be the Oracle of Delphi because then what will outdo to the show. But it was like, I don't want to be a target. I don't want to be, I don't want people seeing this and being like, oh, there's another guy in late night who we can all focus on. Let's fucking get him.
I didn't want that. And I even when I'm doing that calculus, I'm like, you know, I don't want to put a target, even if it means maybe I take that being a target would get me a couple of meetings and like some industry buzz, even if it means that I have to stay away from the industry buzz. There was no buzz to stay away from, Soren. I did this. No. I gave a little speech on the Emmy stage, and then I was on HBO and HBO Max and YouTube. You were everywhere. Last Week Tonight, I was a named featured background Last Week Tonight. I got a larger bump in Bluesky followers for being a guest on Behind the Bastards podcast than I got for any of this stuff that I thought for sure was going to like
move the needle,
make my star so distractingly bright that I need to move.
It's funny. It's funny because yes, I can understand why nobody came knocking, not even like in a threatening way, which at this point might have been nice. Might have been nice to at least have somebody pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, just a water cooler moment is all I'm going for, even if it's among the worst people and the worst water cooler.
I got messages from people. Does that help?
What a feather in your cap. Yeah.
Yeah. So my brother contacted me to talk about it because he saw you on the show. And I heard from our mutual friend, Chase Mitchell. He contacted me to say hello.
He's got my fucking number. I can't even get a phone call from Chase. What's happening?
And
I'm on TV. You call Soren, Chase?
Another guy contacted me through Bluesky to talk about something about you, completely unrelated, because I don't think he can get in touch with you. You guys did an episode about organ donation, and he, after watching it, was so inspired that he then gave up his kidney and like started this chain where a bunch of people were getting kidneys, and he was so thrilled by the show that he wanted to let you know that he did this.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that person can lose my number. That's fine.
But yeah, I got contacted by a few people who were like, I saw Dan all over TV. And I was like, I know. So what? Did you know the things that I'm doing lately? Do you know that I'm still on my show?
Yeah. I was thinking there would be like a surge in Google searches of people who are like, who is this Last Week Tonight Daniel character? And there'd be all these explainer things that came up about my 15-year public eye comedy career, but just nobody was, and it's good. I'm glad that no one's curious.
Are you?
I'm thrilled. I've never been more thrilled in my life.
Yeah, okay. But still standing there peeking out of the blinds like, no one?
No one.
No one coming by. No one's sniffing around.
Hollywood Reporter doesn't want a word with the soothsayer. Doesn't want to know if I have any other predictions in the old fortune cookie.
Nobody wants to know how they die? Because I can do that. Nobody wants to know the plane crashes they die in?
It's so funny to be sitting in my little swamp house in New Jersey sitting there talking to myself, being like, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't want all this attention. And the rest of Hollywood is like, this guy's not a fucking fortune teller. We don't need to bother him. They bother everybody.
They didn't. It was never. It's so interesting. It is actually really interesting because it's the first circumstance in which it was never about the person themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's always about the person. it's like so deeply about the person that it's really uncomfortable. But for you, for whatever reason, like you are just an arm of the show as far as they're concerned. And you're like, you are an extension of John Oliver. And they're like, yeah, why would we interview John Oliver's finger? Like that makes no sense.
I feel like 5 years ago, there would be articles, an entire like 24-hour internet news cycle of like, here's everything we know about the unnamed model holding Fiji bottles at the BET Awards.
Yeah, somebody has caught everyone's attention this year at the award show. Let's get a word in with them. Find out who they really are, what makes them tick. But not they looked at you and they're like, well, I'm pretty sure I got it.
Right. And that wasn't better. The thing in the past wasn't better. It's just crazy that now everyone has learned. All of the SEO driven article writers were like, I just don't think there's a story there. I just don't think there's any reason to talk about this person, which is good. I'm glad I'm a writer.
I want to quickly complain about something that is tangentially related, which is so I've been a working television writer for 8 years. This is my 8th year of it, right? And in that time, I early on didn't have representation, didn't have a manager, didn't have an agent, because I had gotten through this job through an insanely lucky backdoor, essentially. And as I was first working it, I was like, yeah, well, that makes sense. And like, why would I continue? Because I don't know if anyone knows this, but you probably do. If you're paying 10% to every one of those people of whatever jobs you have, whether they got you the job or not, you're paying 10% to them on whatever you're working. And I was like, oh, well, this is nice. I'm not paying anybody. And then, like each year as the show would have to get picked up again, I start to get nervous and start kicking myself because I was like, why didn't I like seek out representation? It would have been a really good idea in case the show gets canceled. And I should be, I should be working on other stuff too. I should be like trying to build other things. So I'm like, well, that'll come. That'll all happen for me. And then everyone fired their representation because there was a big issue with the agencies and the agencies sending out packages and like they were working for themselves instead of their clients. Correct. And everyone fired their representation. I was like, yep, we're all at scratch now. Like what I'm even with everybody. This is great. Now, after that happened, and the fight was over between agents and their clients, agents came sniffing around again to find everybody, and they're like, well, who's not represented? And like they started picking people up. Daniel, not a single sniff
not
in
a
my
sniff.
direction. Not a sniff. And now that's long over. Like we've had a strike since then about something completely different. I've been working on this show. I'm a working writer on I will say, a dinosaur of a show in that it's very successful and continues to go. And
yeah, just like a dinosaur.
Just like a dinosaur, always, you can't stop them. They're going to live forever.
That's the main thing people know about dinosaurs.
And representation, like for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but like agents were just like, no. Not even like, hey, give us a sample or anything like that. Just like, I you know what, I'll make my money somewhere else.
Yeah. I thought after this whole speech and feature on the show that there would be like even some junior sharks, some assistant vultures to circle around to sniff blood in the water. Just someone that I can say no to. I thought for sure someone would be like, this is the time, strike while the iron's hot. Your name is on the industry's tongue. Get out there and kiss that tongue. And I'd have to say, no, thank you. I'm very happy where I am. And then smash cut to reality. And I'm like, should I have hired a publicist? What why doesn't anyone want to talk to me?
What happened?
Why does my well-connected in the industry buddy Chase see this as an opportunity to reach out to Soren? What on earth?
He didn't want to bother. Maybe that's what it is. Nobody wants to bother you.
I know.
Everybody's like, let's be polite to this guy. He wants his space. That's what that's the energy he's giving off.
Yeah. Right.
Give it to him.
It must just be like the journalists who work for industry trades are famously ethical and dogged investigative journalists, that they saw that speech and they were like, we looked into it. He only did the speech to make his wife happy. Let's give him his privacy in this matter. He doesn't want to be Doesn't want to be featured. Doesn't
They're
want.
journalists are well known for their emotional sensitivity.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful. That's great. Well, I guess we should start the show for real in earnest now, because I do have a question for you.
It's good, and I want to answer it. I'm just a writer, Soren. All I want to do.
This is a question that actually our producer and sound engineer and editor Gabe came to us with, and I loved it so much because I was like, yeah, I have so many thoughts about this. There's something in your life that is very private, which is your phone.
Yes.
And he wanted to know, like, is there anything, like, how do you set your phone up in terms of, like, where your icons and stuff like that? Like, is there something about your phone that you're like, I've solved it. I have, like, this very streamlined, organized setup on your home screen that, like, works for you? Or, like, how have you done it that, like, because everybody must have. Everybody at some point, nobody's just sitting there with, like, a mess of shit on their front page and on the front home screen and being like, I don't know, I'll figure it out at some point. Everybody has solved this already, but nobody talks about it or solved it in their own individual way. And so I'm curious, like, what is your home screen setup?
It's very interesting that you say everyone solved this.
Oh, you have not solved it.
No. At one point, and I think we talked about this on the podcast or maybe real life, at one point I saw someone else's phone and they had organized all of their apps by color gradient.
That was me. That was
your phone?
Yeah, you're talking about me.
Yeah. It was very aesthetically pleasing. And I thought, I want to do that just because I like the look of it so much. And I started to do it. And a few things became very clear very quickly. One, it's kind of hard for me to move stuff around in the phone, on the phone face.
Okay.
It's what I would like is to take the 3 pages of my phone's home screen and put them on my laptop and then organize them there on the laptop where I could see everything at once and I could drag and drop from there and then port that back onto the phone. Because the phone, when you're trying to move stuff around and you're like dragging it across pages, it's just, it's too sensitive for what I want to do. So the idea of like spending the project of color coding your phone is not like a thing you bang out in an hour, because I need to take breaks because I get frustrated.
I do it during meetings.
That's smart. So I abandoned that because it was too much of a bear. And the latest thing I started doing was looking at the apps that I don't use and putting them in folders, which I just found out about.
Oh,
I had a folder on my phone that I created accidentally years ago, and I just saw it one day and I was like, weird, that's where the United app is. I don't know who put that there, but that's fine because I don't need the United app all that often. And then I was like, let me put all of the stuff that I don't need in little folders. I'm not going to throw it out because it's on the phone, so I must want it for something. So I'm going to keep them there, but I'm just going to keep them out of the way. My dream was to have only the things that I use every day on my phone's home screen. And so I did that for a little bit. And then I moved some things back to where they were. Oh. Because the muscle memory of like, my hand knows where Duolingo is supposed to be. And it's 3 pages in. And when I don't find it there, I get real mad real quick.
Well, you just have to retrain in yourself. Go ahead. You just keep it where it's supposed to be.
Just keep it where it's supposed to be.
That's interesting. How many pages do you have?
3. And like, I don't have 3 pages worth of apps. I have a full page on my front page, and then I have like 6 apps on page 2 and 4 apps on page 3.
Yeah.
Just because that's where they are. I could condense if I wanted, but that's just not where my head's at right now.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, those annoying people who organize their books by color on their shelves. Those terrible, awful people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Great.
And I love it. I love the aesthetic.
It's so nice.
It is not functional, but it is so beautiful. And I'll say, if I've read a fucking book, I know what it looks like. I know what color spine I'm looking for. Like, I know where to be. If I'm like gonna go find a Philip Marlowe story. I'm like, yeah, I know where those live, even though they're not all next to each other. I know, like, okay, I know that the copy of the very high window that I have is like, or the very high window that I have is black, and I know that the copy of the little sister is gonna be a deep blue. I know where to go. Yeah. But the same thing is true of my phone as well. It's like, this isn't for anyone else. I only cleaned it up because I'm the only one looking at it. I did it for me. And it's by gradient, and it's by not only color, so it's like it does a Roy G. Biv, but it's also by gradient. And in fact, things will get placement on my homepage based on that. Like if something's not really working out, like there's a color that is sort of like a mustard, I'm like, fuck, this doesn't really go with everything else. It's gone. Like I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to dig for this every time I want it because it doesn't look right. And instead, pages will be prominent, even though I'm never using pages on my phone. It is, it's not an easy solution. It's not a solution where like it makes it easier to use my phone, but I don't care. I like opening my phone and seeing that and being like,
It's the best argument for redesigning anything on a phone I've heard to date. Not that I hear a lot of arguments, but like your phone is really pleasing to look at, and that's not nothing.
I want it to be, yeah. And I also agree with you that there are folders that I have that are same way where like I was just like moving stuff around and then all of a sudden I lost a thing. And I was like, well, hold on, where did that icon go? Yeah. I can't find it anywhere. And then I discovered that I'd put it in another icon. And I was like, you're creating a folder. So I have a few different folders. One is called Who Cares? One is called Apple Junk. One is, they're pretty disparaging because it's shit that I don't want there. Yeah. But I have to constantly get new apps for school, for everything. Like you constant MLB tickets, like anything.
Yeah,
you're
not allowed to do anything.
And so I have a ton of apps that I don't ever use that are all like organized in disparaging ways. But I know exactly what I mean when I'm like, this is bullshit. Oh, I know where. Yeah. Oh, I've got to do all my EV charging. That's all in the bullshit file. I'll just go there. And I'll say I love it. Other than when these companies consistently update their app design and it ruins everything for me.
You would hate Duolingo because sometimes they'll give you a free trial of Duolingo Max and it changes the color of your app temporarily. And like it'll be black for a while and then that color will over days slowly fade back to green. So you don't even get like a consistent anything with it until it goes back to its normal non-paid version.
It's either red or green.
Green or black, I think.
Green or black. There's nowhere near each other in my color spectrum.
No.
I would hate that. I would really hate that. There's at the bottom, my bottom four don't really adhere to that. On like an Apple phone, I don't know if this is true of other phones, but on an Apple phone, you get the bottom four, which are like the ones that you're going to end up using the most likely, and they stick. They glue to your screen no matter where you are, or on whichever page you're on. But what do you keep in your bottom four there?
I don't know.
You don't even know? Oh
no.
All right.
Do I have any control over that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. I can't wait. I can't wait to look at my phone later. We'll see what other stuff it does.
You can move everything is customizable. And so that's why I'm like, well, I'll customize the shit out of this thing.
No.
But I'll do it for completely non-functional reasons.
I just got used to where everything was, and that's what makes it convenient to me.
I just know where my things are.
I know. I should take that step though, because when I think about the aesthetic look of your phone and how nice it is, it reminds me of, I tried to do that with my closet with all my clothes.
Yeah.
At one point when I will do this every couple of years where I'm like, I'm going to put all of the short sleeve shirts together, and then all of the polo shirts, and then the short sleeve button down, and then the long sleeve button down, and then the sweaters. And then within this, I am going to do a color gradient and put all of the colors where they're supposed to be within their little umbrellas of things. And then that goes to shit because I only wear like 4 or 5 different things over and over and over and over again. So I'm like, why do I have to dig all the way to the far side of the closet to get the green Henley when why can't that be one of the first 4 things I see when I open the closet? Because that's the thing that I want. Why do I have to sift through my summertime short sleeve button downs to get to the stuff that I need? This is
Because
silly.
the closet looks good.
So I have like half a closet that looks really good, and then like 4 really hard used shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my wife and I share a closet, and she's a planner by nature. I mean, she went to school for planning. She's an urban planner, and her closet compared to mine is incredible. Here's what I think. I don't think anybody is completely put together in every quadrant of their life. They like focus on certain ones, and they're like, my house is going to be clean, or like my friend group, or like whatever it is, like I will like curate this thing. And then there are other things where they're like, I cannot fucking be bothered. And so for me, that is my closet. If I'm going camping, I'm the most anal person you've ever met. I'm a different human being when I'm camping because I'm so insistent on like knowing where everything is at the end of the night, packing it all back into your bag and bomb proofing it, knowing like that your bag is loaded in such a way that you're not top heavy. Like all this stuff where I'm like insistent on duffel bags for everything. There's got to be, I need like a bag for every single group of items. I'm not that way in the rest of my life. My closet is a mess. My closet looks ridiculous. I have probably 4 bags that still have shirts in them because I brought them home from the dry cleaner and never took them out of the plastic. And they're still sitting there in the plastic. And some plastics that are still in there where I have since used all of the shirts, but still left the plastic on a hanger in there.
That's such a hassle to get rid of. Yeah.
I had to go all the way downstairs. I had to fold up that wire hanger and throw it away. Yeah. My wife, on the other hand, she not only has a color-coded side of her closet, all the clothes are color-coded, but the hangers themselves. So the hangers match the color of the clothing. So like the dress or the shirt, it matches the color of the hanger. She has these plastic hangers that are a rainbow of hangers, and then they are in an order.
It's got to be pleasant to look at.
It's gorgeous. Her side of the closet is absolutely gorgeous. But I don't know. I think that would be such a pain. Every single time that I'd be putting something away, I do this with her clothes, where I'm like, well, it would be nice if after I've folded her laundry, if I'm like, well, I should I know some of these are hang up. I should put them away. And I'm like going through and I'm like, you know what? There's like 3 different hangers it could be, and I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where in this color spectrum it goes because I think I lack some of those cones in my eye.
You do.
I'm going to just leave it on the bed.
Yeah. I think it adds a level of, it would add a level of frustration for me if I was doing that. The idea that it's the end of the day and I want to hang something up and I have to make sure I use the right hanger, I think that would drive me a little bonkers. That would be like unforced stress for myself that I could easily remove, which informs a lot of my design decisions in the house. Like when we bought this house and moved in, I had some real opportunities to do things for the very first time. Like we built a tool bench in the basement, and I also had the garage for a whole lot of like our seasonal stuff and also all of my camping gear.
You built a tool bench?
Well, I bought it and put it together.
Okay. I was excited for a minute. I thought maybe we were going to talk about building together.
No, never. But like the tool bench and also like the gardening stuff in my garage, where as I'm setting up, these are the basement and the garage are 2 areas of the house where basically only I am ever spending time. So they're my domains for the time being.
Yeah.
And I could make the garage however I want it to be. And at first it was like, let's make sure all of the Christmas stuff is together in one spot, and let's make sure all of the luggage stuff is together in one spot. Beach stuff, camping stuff, all these things. And then I spent more time actually interacting with that space. And I was like, let's put the Christmas stuff in the fucking loft. Who cares about it? Why is a fake Christmas tree in a box taking up any space in this area that I need when I only want quick access to all of my various gardening tools?
I've done the same thing in my garage, and right now my garage is being remade or like remodeled. So at a certain point, we're gonna have the opportunity to go in there and like restart this process. Where you're like, all right, I'm going from scratch again. Let's try and get it right this time. Like let's nail it. I do like a place that's perfectly put together, and then I come into it. There's something that feels very good about putting something down where it doesn't go. It's like a borderline fetish where like I like bring back stuff from the beach and I'm like, I know the beach stuff is supposed to go in there, but this floor is so clean.
No.
And I could just put the beach stuff right here on the floor. It almost makes the rest of the space look cleaner that this one little spot is messy.
Yeah. You need it. You need the rain to know how good the sun feels.
Oh man. Never, no truer words have ever been spoken. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reorganizing our garage, because starting from scratch on something, you're always like, it's like writing. You're like, you got a new project and you're like, okay, this time I'm going to get it right. This time I'm going to fucking nail it. Like this time I will fully prepare. I won't just like wing it as I go. I'm going to like really get it right this time. And every single time by the end, you're like, I did. Yeah. I fucked it up again. I don't know. This is me. I think it's just in my heart that I'm this.
Writing is such an extension, the kind of writing that I do now for Last Week Tonight, but it's not about me. I'm just a writer. It's such an extension of this whole conversation, because we will, as we're doing in the writing process of an A story on our show, one of our main stories, like the 16 to 28 minute long segment, that is a single topic segment that starts with when the writer gets in, going through 400 to 800 pages of footage transcripts and interview transcripts and articles and stuff. A lot of stuff that we are digesting, and like eventually we're going to turn these many pages of documents into an outline for the bosses to look at. And an outline is like a jokeless version of this script, including the clips that we think should go into the show and where we think they should go. And so we're formatting a lot of the clips come in the forms of like a full transcript, and we need to format that like, here's where we want it to cut, here's where we want it to flash from this time code to this time code, and we have to put it in a special format in our scripts. As I'm going through footage, I will copy and paste parts of the transcript into a separate document that I have that is sort of like where I'm collecting all of the clips that I think are going to be useful. And I always start that process with like searchable, tabbable line headers. So it's like,
so ambitious.
There's a section for funny, there's a section for general, there's a section for sad, there's a section that is marked for something specific to that piece, where it's like, this is one where like, here's all the Marco Rubio stuff, or here's all the stuff in West Virginia. Whatever the topic is, there are like easy ways to classify what kind of clips you're doing and to should go in my very neatly organized doc that I call my shot with the subject headings before I start going through the footage. Inevitably, I create more subject lines as I go, and I double things up. And then I create a subject, a header that is basically just like useful. And that's where all the clips end up living.
Yeah. Great. A subfolder that now you just have to go to instead. Yeah.
And that's what my phone interface is. It's all just one giant pile of useful. Because I'm going to need them all.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you know that, and anyone who connoisseurs of the show will know that I used to do this podcast out of the back of the garage with a bunch of paint cans. My unkindest of coworkers called it the pantry from The Shining.
Great.
And it was my space though. And so like, it was messy. And like, I would do woodwork back there too. And so like, occasionally, like I just spill stain on the floor and be like, well, that stain's going to be there forever because I'm not cleaning it up. Like, I don't have to. Nobody else goes back here. It's just me and the spiders. And then I would organize everything in my own, as though no one had ever learned how to organize in their entire life. I was the first person on earth being like, well, let's figure out what organization is. And so It wasn't right. It was a messy system, but it was a system that I had memorized. So I knew where the stuff was and I knew where to dig for it, but it was not, if you were to walk in there, you'd be like, people can't live like this. You have to stop. But sounds like your phone is what I'm saying.
It is my phone, and it makes sense, and it's the shape of your brain, and it's gonna sound crazy. I know where everything is. All of the stuff that I'm in charge of, I know exactly where it all is. Even I have like a closet and a dresser and a nightstand with 2 drawers, and if someone was like casing the joint and they were trying to figure out where I put things, trying to figure out like a system for storage. And then they opened the nightstand. And they were like, then we do the dresser. The dresser is just closed. The closet is closed. The nightstand must be where that, hang on, this is also 2 shirts and 2 pants. And I don't understand why that wouldn't be
with the other shirts.
And now that at this point, the guys are taking off their ski masks. Like, can we just talk for a second that like there's a drawer that's clearly for shorts, but there's another drawer that's for workout shorts, and then a third drawer that's for like a different kind of short. What do we think is going on here?
Let's put all the shorts on the bed and try and figure out what the difference is between these, because he's clearly identified them as different, and I'm not seeing it.
I think if I had to guess, I would say like these are house shorts. I don't understand why he would need to put them in a separate drawer. Now he has 2 shorts drawers that are both half full.
But you and I know scratch the same itch when we go to hotels, where it's like, I get to start from the beginning again. Maybe I am an organized person. Let's just try.
Yeah.
And then in a hotel, I get to organize all my clothes out. I get to put everything where it goes. And I'm like, yeah, I could be this. I could be this kind of human. And then by the end of the trip, it's like, there's a shoe in a drawer and like a belt hanging where the jacket should be. Yeah.
Once I put everything away in a hotel, I'm like, they should really make this for like houses too. They should make it for homes.
That would be so nice.
The one good phone thing that I have, and I'm sure we've talked about it before, is the app TickTick that does not pay me. And they don't need to, because I'm going to use the app forever. And that's the only thing on my phone that is good. Everything else on my phone is bad. But TickTick is an app that organizes it's just a to-do list app. And it probably has a lot of great features that I'm not taking advantage of. I don't need anything else. It pulls from my Google Calendar. So anything I put in Google Calendar pops up in there. And Google Calendar has events that my wife will put on my calendar. It has all of the birthdays of people in my life. It has holidays. It has anything that I've ever put in a calendar before populates in there. And the rest of TickTick is just whatever I put in there on a day-to-day basis, or I could set things in the future, or I could set things to be recurring. And if it's no exaggeration, if it's not in my TickTick app, I am not doing it. It doesn't exist. I trust the process so thoroughly. And the process is me and the Google Calendar. It's still always me, like at some point putting the work in and saying, here's what you like tomorrow. You have a meeting and you have to write 2,000 words for this thing, and you need to take out the garbage and you need to do XYZ, all those things. It's still me doing it. It's not a ghost. It's not a person in charge, but it never feels that way because I wake up and look at TickTick and it tells me all the stuff, and I love it. I click the things when I'm done with them. Yeah. And if something in the house doesn't get done, it is
TickTick's fault.
Never my fault. If I was supposed to do it, my phone would have told me. And because my phone didn't, that must mean it was someone else's responsibility.
Yeah. I think it's like whatever you commit to habit. And like committing to habit is a big endeavor.
Yeah.
Like the same reason you won't move stuff around on your phone is like, I already have the habit built, and I'm going to have to restructure. I'm going to have to like rebuild the habit in my own brain. And that sounds awful. And that's like, I think that's pretty much everything. It's like
they teach in therapy. Like,
is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the habit, whether or not it's working for you, it's what you're used to. And you're like, well, then this is the system. Like, this is how things will go from now on. And so it's the same way with like Google Calendar. I have fucking punted on calendars.
Sure.
Where password saves, I'm on it. Like, anytime I get a new password, that first place, even before I set the password in the new app or whatever, I'm going to my password safe. I'm putting it in. I'm getting it all in there because I hate the feeling of showing up at a site I haven't been to in 6 months and being like, I got it. I really need to. This is time sensitive, and I have no idea what the password is. And like trying a bunch of different combinations and getting locked out. So I like passwords. I'm the fucking man at. But the like obviously other things, it's only because I created a habit out of it. If the act of trying to add a single thing to my calendar is so daunting that I'm like, oh, I'll just remember it or I won't go.
Yeah. Do you remember what my old system was back in the crack.com days?
You would, anytime that there was a new meeting or anything like that, you would go, Siri, set a meeting and you would use your iPad.
No, I would not.
Yeah, you use your iPad for everything.
Siri was not even invented. This was pre-iPad and even like post-iPad for a while.
Were you writing it down on a Post-it note?
I'm going to tell you, and you're going to remember immediately that I, every year, would have physical calendars that would sit on my desk that I would fill out.
That's the dream. Honestly, I think that would help me so much.
I'm shocked you don't remember it because it was like they weren't hanging up because I didn't have space to hang up. They would just like lay flat on my desk. And I would look at it and it would have
calendars.
It would have meetings and it would have birthdays and it would also have like, at some point I was writing what my mileage was supposed to be if I was training for a race. I would just like flip a page and be like, oh, I'm supposed to be running 9 miles tomorrow. And then I guess I would just run 9 miles. And it was every year I would go to Barnes and Noble or wherever and get a physical calendar and fill it out with everything I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I would do way better in that circumstance. Who was the Supreme Court justice who had Brewski's fucking written all over his calendar?
Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. You're doing a Brett Kavanaugh. Like someday people are gonna steal your calendars.
Well,
maybe that's what we're calling it, doing a Brett Kavanaugh. Everyone's calling it that, and everyone knows that Daniel does Brett Kavanaughs.
I don't think.
But like the fact that he would have when he was saying, no, you know what, I didn't. This is my memory of it, so maybe it might be wrong. There's no way I could have assaulted that woman because it wasn't on my calendar.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? How does that make any sense? And you see his calendar and you're like, oh shit, he wrote everything down.
Yeah. I remember during that hearing and people were like, this guy's really fucking crazy about calendars. And I was just like, yeah, this guy's a bad guy with some interesting ideas.
Silently throwing your own calendars in the trash and trying not to make a noise with the bag in there. Man, yeah, that's right. I do remember now. You would write everything down physically. And honestly, that's still my preferred method. It's still like, if I can write something down physically, I'll actually do it.
I would love to never use my phone for anything.
Yeah, typing on my phone feels like such a daunting, awful task. Whereas like I have stuff written on, I don't even have like a journal anymore. I have just pieces of paper around me. There's like bills that have stuff written on them. Mm-hmm. There's sticky notes occasionally. Sticky notes is like a best case scenario. There are, when I actually do find a book where I'm like, oh, I did write some stuff in here. I go and look at what it is and it's like the names of players I wanted to draft in fantasy football 3 years ago.
Sure.
It's like, okay, well, no, this clearly isn't being used.
My wife has a system that amazes me that works because it's not my system. And I watched her interact with it today where she went to this strange phantom basket of garbage that we keep on our kitchen counter. And she took a stack of mail in it and then paid some like physical bills that we needed to address and made phone calls based on what was in one of the letters that she kept. Yeah. And that is so foreign to me. And I know like in her head, she's just like, she gets the mail, she looks at the mail and knows like this is a future problem. I will put it in the Shea pile of the basket. And then I will address it when it's time to go through the basket and do things. And like, Soren, you know what's crazy? There's a me pile too. There's a stuff that's
that you've never seen.
absolutely not. There's stuff that demands my attention. And I'm like, I feel like if that was really important, I mean, this feels like a credit card, but I feel like if it really was important, it would be in the tick. Yeah. And it's not. So toss it, please.
I do physical bills as well. Every time they're like, and I get into the system and it's like, do you want to just go paperless? And I'm like, absolutely not. I love my system where I get the mail. I do look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, the bills have started rolling in for the month. I'll wait till all of them are there and then I'll get them all together. I'll go to my bank account and I'll just bang them all out at once. But that's, I understand that's not everybody's system. And also it's a colossal waste of paper. When I'm done with my bills, it's disgusting. And it's like me separating out the true pieces of paper from the envelopes that have a little plastic screen in them, because you're not allowed to recycle those, it's its own terrible task. And I put up the system.
And I do want to make sure our audience heard that and thought about it, that you get the physical bills, but you are still paying them online. You're not doing the thing that people get physical bills for. You're not doing the like, oh, I don't trust computers. I like to sign a paper check and put it in the mail
love my computer
with the envelope that they give me for this purpose.
I'm still paying it all. I still have to go I have to use my password safe every single time I want to go into my bank. And then I go sit down, I open up all the mail and I type in every single thing that I owe. But the reason I do it is that I don't want to do that direct pay because I need to see it. I need to see the changes in the gas bill throughout the year and know that like what the trends are. I need to know and anytime something is errant, I'm like, I know what that should look like. Whereas if I took it away completely and it became an autonomous process, I'd be so scared all the time that I was being taken advantage of.
I mean, it's rare for me to be the more tech savvy in any conversation with anyone, but I'm telling you something, that I received a text message about my water bill yesterday, and the text message was like, your water bill is this much. And I wasn't sure. And I said it to my wife and she said, that's higher than normal. And I went to the website and logged in, and it has exactly all the information that you're talking about. It says what I paid last month. It even has a little like summary of what the 12-month average was, so I know where I am relative to that. So you could this has all the information that you want, and like a better version of it too.
Yeah, but is it on paper right in front of me? So
it can be.
I have one more thing
to write it down
about writing in relationship to this. You talk about how the process of like how tough it is, like to write something alone. We were talking about this before.
It's tough, but it's all I've ever wanted. I'm just a writer. I don't need all this smoke.
It became really clear to me at the current show where I work, which is American Dad, that writing like a full episode of it. Thank you. I'm just, you know what? I don't need the attention. That's not why I do it. I just want to make the world better. I want to make everybody happier, when you're breaking a show, how crucial it is to have a group breaking it with you, because your brain, as you're like building an episode and it's by act, right? And like what scenes are going to go in every act and what the emotional turn of the scene every scene is going to be, what the arc of the episode is saying, like that kind of stuff. You're basically doing this. You're creating the pattern in your own brain and you're like memorizing everything and then shuffling it around. So you want to know where everything's placed. So it's very easy to like shuffle it if you need to, or change or throw stuff out and put new stuff in. But a lot of it is just creating the habit basically of the episode. And then there's no room for you to fucking think about how to be funny. You need the rest of the room to be adaptable and to be like, well, let's just switch that out. And you're like, oh no, that's really heavy. Like that's a lot of heavy lifting, because then if that changes, like that's going to move everything else behind. That's going to tumble. And they're like, yeah, but who cares? And you're like, oh yeah. But like in my brain, the structure is there already. And if we break it in my brain, then I have to relearn it again. And so much of it is you just memorizing the shape of the episode so that you can move things around. And that takes up an enormous amount of brain space to do.
Our boss, Tim, always has a giant cork board with index cards for like every column of the show, basically. And it's in a there's like a color coordination to it and a few notes on it that like very clearly make sense to his brain. And when we used to do in-person meetings and someone would suggest something in a meeting about like how a certain part of the script didn't work, didn't flow correctly, he could turn and look at this board and see the full visual shape of the episode and what happens if you move something around in a way that like intellectually I understood, but that wasn't how I wrote the show. So it seemed very disconnected to me. Now I'm taking this pilot class with this guy, Matthew Starr. I highly recommend it. And I'm very quickly on my way to becoming a corkboard guy as I'm working on like writing an hour-long pilot for a dramedy thing where I'm like, it would be really great if I could just see a thing in my shorthand visually somewhere that I could like move pieces around and see what it still looks like and make sure the tower is still standing after that.
Because that's all the writing process is like fucking pulling things out and seeing if it still stands, pulling other stuff out, seeing if it still stands, adding things to see now if it's lopsided, and like making sure that you still have a structure and a shape to it. And that's, it's like such an underrated part of writing, but it's not fun. It's like being the person who's in charge of memorizing that stuff. So it's your episode. You're the one who's writing it all up on the board. And it's like you're boarding the stuff and you're boarding all the beats for it. And as you're going, you're like, people will suggest things and the room laughs, but you don't, because you're like, you're not thinking about it in those terms yet. You know, if something, like you'll hear something, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's good. But you're never like, you don't have an impulsive like,
someone in the room was like, and a fourth wheel here, and you're like, yeah, it's a tricycle though.
Oh, okay.
So I just don't think it would still be a tricycle if you put another wheel on there.
It's there's so much time spent with the person, whoever's breaking the story. Just like someone will suggest something, the person will not say whether they like that idea or not. They just look at the board again and they're like, okay, if that goes in, what does it do to everything else here? And like, that's not you need somebody else who's like helping like to create the story, because otherwise you would just make something that is structurally good. And that might be a bullshit episode. That might be terrible. It might not be compelling at all, because all you've done is like, you've organized a closet, basically. You've been like, well, this was just for me.
But doesn't it look very nice? Isn't it super pleasing to stare at?
It's pleasant, right?
Even though it's not fun to engage with.
You hit all the expectations. You could have predicted the entire thing. Well, isn't that fun? Isn't that what we want from the story? Anyway, I just broke a story, and now I'm out writing it. And when I say I broke a story, everybody else in the room broke a story while I sat there and looked at a board, and then helped me drag it across the finish line as I hemmed and hawed and got worried the entire time about how it's not working.
Oh man, this was a great episode, Soren. I feel pretty good about it. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Well, you know what we did? We started with phones and we took it all the way to our jobs.
I don't think we started with phones. I think we started with jobs.
Oh, we started with jobs and then we bookended. You know what? This is it's a very symmetrical episode.
It's pretty good.
I love the shape of it.
It's long.
That's fine. This is not by no means our longest episode. Thank you everybody for listening. This is of course Quick Question with Soren and Daniel. If you like us, you can find us on Patreon as well. You can go find shorter episodes where we also talk about writing. Sometimes we talk about all kinds of stuff. And stuff that you wouldn't hear on the ordinary podcast. You can also see videos of us if you find us on YouTube doing the same podcast. And if you liked our theme song, that's by me, Rex. If you like this podcast in general, that's all Gabe Harder. He did it all for us. And that's it.
That's it.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did I find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.